This is the Halftime Show with Omar Adori on Pulse 95.
It sure is that time. It's the Halftime Show with Omar Adori. I am your host, covering everything sport, international, local. Hope you're having a blessed day wherever you're tuned in around the world, whether it's 95 FM, pulse95radio.com, our app, Sharjah Broadcasting Authority, or even if you prefer a visual, at home on YouTube, live on Pulse 95 Radio. We are here today and I'm so happy to have my guest. I've actually known her for a very, very long time and I can't wait for you guys to get to know her. Her name is Ghada. She is the first, and I say first, Emirati to gain accreditation and certification as a professional coactive executive coach, and she's got 15 years of experience. And you know, often on the show we talk about physical fitness, we talk about mental fitness, we talk about emotional fitness. So today I'm going to pick her brain on mental therapy and how we can help get the best out of performance and the best of ourselves. So on the only place to be at 3, the Halftime Show on Pulse 95.
This is the Halftime Show with Omar Adori on Pulse 95.
Salam and welcome back to the Halftime Show with Omar Adori. I'm your host, covering everything sport, international and local. Thank you very much for tuning in on the Halftime Show on Pulse 95 Radio. I'm so happy. I'm smiling ear to ear because one of my old friends is here in the studio, someone who's been in the industry for 15 years and is very, very well respected. So I can't wait to share that with you. Before I start, I will have to give a couple of shout outs. We've got Fatoum, we've got MJ, we've got Lara, Terry, Tariq, Goran, Ali, Bunji, Mo, and of course our very own Benoit, Natty, Haya, and everyone at RBO who's listening. So with my guest, it's really interesting. Let me tell you guys about her. She is someone who I have a lot of respect for. I've known her for a while. We go way back. Ghada was the first Emirati to gain both accreditation and certification as a professional coactive executive coach. With 15 years of experience, she has coached people from all around the world on how to manage their lifestyle both at work and at home. On the show today, we discuss maintaining balance, building habits, and how we get fit mentally. Ghada, welcome to the show.
Hi, Omar. I'm so excited to be here and to be with you after this long time.
Hey, thank you so much. It's been a while. How long have we known each other, Ghada?
Goodness, it's been a while. Like definitely more than 10 years.
I'd say
so.
10 years.
I would say that. Yeah,
I'd say 10 years. And how have you been since the last time I saw you?
A lot has happened since last time we met. I think you've grown. I've grown.
Definitely lost more hair.
You still look good though.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
Yeah, a lot has happened. A lot of travels. A lot more added into my toolbox as I grew as well. But then also seeing you grow has been amazing. I've been watching you real close.
Oh, thank you so much. Thank you. And it's nice to have you here because on the show, you know, we talk about lifestyle, we talk about well-being, we talk about health, and the mental side of it is very, very important. And I can't think of many people out there that I would love to be on the show today than yourself, to be able to share your knowledge and your education. Now, one of the things, Ghada, with that, often we try to strike the right balance. I think a lot of people now, especially with, I don't like to use the C word, but with COVID,
although it's here.
Yes, exactly. There's a lot of unstable patterns that we're facing every day. The uncertainty. How do we bring balance to an unbalanced situation of uncertainty in the current climate?
So you're triggering me to ask you a lot of questions here because that's my default, to ask the questions.
Right.
So it really depends on what you mean by bringing balance to uncertain situations. It will really all depend, and it's all very different to different people.
Yeah.
Are we talking about unbalanced situation because you lost a job? Are we talking about an unbalanced situation because you don't have your family with you, or you've been separated with your family because people have not been able to come back home, or you're not able to travel to them? So it really depends on what we're talking about that is unbalanced for you. It's all pertaining to the individual. What's an imbalance for me will be a different imbalance for you, will be a different imbalance for Fatma, So it's really pinpointing what's the imbalance for you as an individual. So we would want to identify that first.
So it's almost like, obviously the cliche is one size doesn't fit all, but each person would be very, very different in their approach.
Absolutely.
Very interesting.
So I'd have to target this first, and we'd have to talk about this, and we'd have to see, okay, what is it for you? Because what's an imbalance for you could be not a problem for somebody else.
Right.
we don't really all have the same. We have common things together, like the C word has been the common thing for all of us.
Yeah.
But then how everybody took it was very different. Some people took it as an opportunity to grow from and to connect more with family. Others got really depressed and hid outside and became more paranoid, with the whole hygiene bit, with the whole cleanliness, not wanting to be with people. So you've actually got different things happening to different people as a result.
Yeah.
So you may want to ask me something.
I like that. See, I told you she was good. There's something that a lot of us used to complain about and still do, and that is time. Now, despite having more time for ourselves, it feels like we are more distracted. Why is that?
Well, we've all switched from doing activities outside of the home to staying at home on Netflix, on the internet, on our WhatsApp. So the common problem, I think, for most people is that we became more distracted with all the internet life and all the social media, because we were all forced to divert there, because we're not able to get out as often. So everybody got sucked into this either through gaming or through, Netflix watching. Some people call it addicted to Netflix, or binging on, episodes and seasons. So that's what became more distracting for a lot of people, I think.
And does social media lead that? So, for example, you're so right when you say gaming and Netflix, but what about things like gratitude journals, coloring? I've seen you do puzzles with people as well. What about things like why haven't we, or is it our own attention span to look at Netflix rather than something that might be lighter for the brain and make us feel better, like coloring, puzzles, and gratitude journals?
You're absolutely right. So there are people, so it depends again, what type of distraction are we talking about? There's positive distractions, and there's obviously not so positive distractions. So I would say the positive distractions have been spending a lot more time with family, doing more puzzles, doing more art, and, getting out and doing the hobbies and things that you love that you haven't done for a long time, even taking a course online. So that's a positive distraction, as opposed to what we said earlier, which could have been a little bit more not so positive, let's say, or not so helpful, like, almost pacifying our time.
Yes.
So, yes, there's both. I don't know if you want to call it both distractions, but yeah.
If I could ask you for 3, what would you throw at me? Positive distractions.
Positive distractions, definitely having more time with family and getting, if possible, outdoors now, or doing just activities at home together. Like people did cooking together, people, like you said, did puzzles, artwork together. They built things, even doing DIY at home, So these are positive distractions, connecting more with your loved ones far away. This was an incredible distraction. This was actually very good because we got connected with a lot of family and friends that are very far away that we have not been connected to for maybe years.
I like that. Can I get one more from you?
One more. As a distraction, what did we say? We said the family.
We said technology through family.
Yes. We said friends. We said activities. More activities at home, like cooking.
Yeah.
Like puzzles, like sports. Even, a lot of us changed some of our rooms into home gyms.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. I like that. Well, guys, see, I told you it was going to be a great show. What I want you to do is go get yourself a bit of tea, some water, chill, hydrate, and come back, because right after the break, we're going to be talking about habits, how we build them, and when it comes down to performance physically, how much time do we dedicate to physical training? On the only place to be at 3, the Halftime Show on Pulse 95.
This is the Halftime Show with Omar Al-Duri on Pulse 95.
Wow, we are back. Welcome back to the Halftime Show with Omar Al-Duri. I'm your host, covering everything sport, international, local. Thank you for everyone who's tuned in, whether you're tuned in on Pulse 95 Radio, 95 FM, the YouTube on Pulse 95 Radio as well, or even if you're listening to us on the podcast on Apple, Spotify, SoundCloud, and Anghami. It's great to have you connected with us on this hour, wherever you are around the world. And today we have a special guest, Ghada on the show. Ghada, welcome to the show.
Thank you. I'm very happy to be here.
Ghada is flying by. I told you. I promised you it was gonna be quick and it's gonna fly by when you're having fun. And one thing I want to tackle with you is habits. We often talk about that on the show. With habits now, how do we build habits, in your opinion?
Good question. Well, to build a habit, it depends on how much you want to do this thing that you want to do, right? And you want to, they always tell you need 3 weeks to actually build and keep a habit. So you need to be persistent. You need to keep it daily as much as possible. Of course, it depends on what it is you're wanting to build as a habit.
Yeah.
And if it's a good habit or a bad habit, that's another story. But good habits in generally take time to build, and you want to give yourself time to practice and to be persistent and to just make it regular as much as possible. But you decide what is regular for you. Is it daily? Is it weekly? Is it 3 times a week? Whatever that habit is, you want to decide to build on it so that it becomes forever. A habit is something that you take on and you continue doing consistently. So consistency is important for a habit, persistence, desire and passion in whatever it is that you want to do. And that's how you build a healthy habit. Let's put it that way.
Is it safe to say that habits are a skill that we have to acquire rather than something that we're born with?
That's a good point. So here's the thing, though. We are born where some things come into our life and then they become a habit by default because of us doing them daily. And some things we have to make the effort to make them a habit. So I'm not quite sure if I would say we're born with it or we're not born with it.
Right.
I wouldn't want to say yes or no to that.
Yeah.
I would rather say that there are some things that automatically become a habit because we got used to it as children.
Nice.
Right?
Very nice, yeah.
If your parents take you to karate or taekwondo and swimming weekly, that becomes a habit. You weren't actually born with it, but your circumstances, your family, your environment created it for you. So it becomes a habit.
Habit, if one size doesn't fit all, which we hear all the time, we all function differently. If one size doesn't fit all, is it okay to take longer in building habits? Because some people get discouraged quite quickly, so they think, I'm never going to get this right. Is it okay for people to take longer than 3 weeks, 21 days, months?
Absolutely. What's there to say that it has to be done in X amount of time? They normally say a habit becomes a habit after someone's doing it consistently for 3 weeks. Yeah? That's what's being said. And if you're a person who needs to take a longer time, sometimes people try over time to create or to build new habits in their lifestyle. Like, for example, eating healthy, the typical, what everybody goes through, eating healthy and going to exercise. Sometimes you make the effort several times in your lifetime before it becomes a truly consistent habit. Let's put it that way. So it's not necessarily that we say, yes, you want to stick to something and by 21 days, if you've stuck enough to it, it will become a habit. But then people do break those habits even after 3 weeks.
Yeah.
Let's face it.
Absolutely. Now, one of the things that people have tried to build as a habit is physical training, especially during the C word. When it comes down to performance physically, how much time do we dedicate to physical training?
How much time does the typical person dedicate? Or
you know what? Let's go personal. How about you? When lockdown went down,
I have to tell you, lockdown was actually the best time for us as a family.
Really?
It really was.
How come?
Ironically, because the minute we heard we were going to go into lockdown in the next 2 hours, we rushed to the first sports store and took whatever we can from that store to make sure we have our makeshift gym at home.
Okay.
And in fact, every one of us in the household, everyone, I kid you not, was booking the office, which turned into a gym. So it was office when we needed it and gym when someone needed to do their workout. And we got the opportunity to work out together, sometimes as a family, 2-3 people, or just 2 people, or just 1 person at a time, depending on when it was convenient for us. And we either did gym or we did walking when we still could get out and do the walking or the swimming. So we really made use, and I think it was practically daily for all of us.
Oh, wow, okay.
So for some people it was daily.
Yeah.
And for some of us it was one day yes, one day no. But I think we did a lot more physical activity during lockdown than any time.
And has it now become a habit for you guys?
It's always been a habit in my household. So actually, we've always had it as a habit in our household. I think it's something that was ingrained probably even growing up. So, and then I put it in when I had my kids. So my kids are used to doing workouts at home.
Okay.
And wherever else. So I think you create the habit as well. Huh?
Nice.
Yeah.
Very nice. Terry's asking a question. She said, when does it change from a habit to a lifestyle? It's a good question.
Very good question. I think it changes from a habit to a lifestyle when you're doing it forever. You've been doing it for 10 years, you've been doing it for 20 years. It is your lifestyle. You know, you go to the gym 3 times a week or 4 times or 5 times. By hook or crook, regardless whether you're working, whether you're traveling. It's a lifestyle when you're traveling and you go look for a gym like what my husband does.
Yeah.
And when we're traveling together, we pick and choose the hotel that has the best gym.
Right.
Or if not, where is the nearest gym next door that we can do a daily membership in, right?
Nice.
So that becomes a lifestyle.
Okay, I like it. Right. Coming up next, really, really important, something we speak about on the show quite often, mental health and mental fitness with Ghada Zakaria here on the only place to be at 3, the halftime show on Pulse 95.
This is the halftime show with Omar and Duri on Pulse 95.
Sure is that time, and I'm so happy that you guys are joining us here on the only place to be at 3, the halftime show on Pulse 95 in the heart of Sharjah with the lady herself. Ghada Zakaria is here talking to us about a lot of things regarding habits, regarding mental fitness, regarding mental health, and also trying to strike a balance. Now, this part of the show is often a favorite, not just with athletes, but with people that do tune into the halftime show. It's mental health. Ghada, question for you. If we want to look good or feel good, we often go to the gym.
Yeah.
But where do we go when we want to exercise the mind?
So definitely the gym or boosting our endorphins is definitely one way, right? So still keep going to the gym because that's good. Boost your endorphins or go and do your activity, your physical activity. What else really helps the mind to practice it, to get it ahead, is to activate it in mental games, you know, like word games or number games. That kind of activates or stimulates the brain to open up and try different things. And it's like a challenge. It's a mental challenge. So lots of people like to go to that for mental stimulation, let's put it that way.
I like the term mental stimulation. What requires us to mentally get stimulated?
What is required? It depends on the person. What stimulates you as a person mentally? So for some people, it'll be number games, it'll be word games. It really goes back to each person and what mentally stimulates them. Reading a good book, you know, that also I think helps. But definitely the endorphins.
Yeah.
Anything that's a good feel that you do that gives you a good feel will mentally stimulate you positively, which is very healthy for you mentally.
I like that. Safe all the way from London said reading the Reset book. Thank you, Safe. I can always trust you to plug my book. That's great. Thank you, Safe. One thing I want to ask you is, with all the things that are happening at the moment now, how do we get fit mentally, in your opinion?
Positive thinking. And how do we get to positive thinking?
Yes.
Becoming more aware. Well, you probably need a coach for that. Hence, you know, I'm here. But really, on a serious note, and I do say, why do I say coach? Is because lots of times we speak to ourselves negatively unawares. So having someone to help you become more, I wouldn't say help you, I would say empower you to become more aware of how you converse and have the dialogue with yourself. Just having a negative dialogue with myself will make it or break it. If I speak to myself positively, I am more likely to manifest something positively.
Yes.
Not just in feel, but in action. If I speak to myself negatively, and oftentimes we're not aware of it, then I'm more likely to feel low and to manifest something that is not so favorable.
Yeah, because a lot of the times, Ghada, like we talk about the relationship with others, but one thing we neglect the most is the relationship within ourselves.
Absolutely.
And what I like about what you said, people are scared of like silence in terms of listening to their thoughts and kind of reflecting. How do we snap out of it and then go into positive thinking? Because it's something that a lot of us can switch over. You could be having a great day and then there'll be one thing that happens and all of a sudden it switches on the descending part.
Flip side.
Yes. How do we kind of reset that?
Well, for one, you want to become aware. So the journey to becoming aware is a journey. It doesn't happen overnight, okay? But for example, people who have read Now for Eckhart Tolle know the power of now is knowing the power of staying right in the moment where we are right now. And here's what I would say. It doesn't necessarily mean that I have a negative thought, then I need to block it or just shun it away, because it's a normal thing that will happen to us. We can't avoid it from happening. The difference is that I can become more aware that in the course of my day, as things were going very nicely, a negative thought passed through, right? So it's not that I want to silence it and block it out. Actually, let me notice that it has come, or I like the way Eckhart Tolle does it. He says, notice it coming in, hear it, acknowledge that it was there, and then watch it go away.
Nice.
As opposed to trying to resist it is more like holding on to it and then taking it on and then behaving in a certain way that manifests negativity.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
It takes practice, obviously. So just becoming aware of that negative thought that came in, okay? Noticing what it did to you, how you felt, what's it doing right now? Okay, is it serving me? Is it going to serve the current situation I'm in? No, obviously. So let me just acknowledge it came. Thank you for coming, negative thought. And just like you came, you're going.
Yeah.
It doesn't stay. Negative thoughts don't stay. No thought actually stays long enough.
Very
so it's just becoming more aware of that. And that's what keeps us in the moment.
Does it come down to perspective?
It depends what you mean by perspective.
So, for example, how we perceive things, in what light we see it, rather than some people obviously handle things or deal with things differently, whether it's fight or flight, whether it's parasympathetic versus sympathetic. We all kind of respond to situations different. Does it come down to how can we train the way we see things?
Of course we can train the way we see things. Of course there's different perspectives, and some people have more of a negative perspective or a negative look towards life and situations, and others are naturally more positive. Sometimes it's within our nature. And I will say, so I won't use but I will say, and we can change that. So if you become aware, then you've got the choice to change it. It's up to you. Some people may just enjoy staying in the drama of things, right? Unless that person decides, no, I want to change this, it's not serving me, then they will stay exactly the way they are. Negative perspective, negative thoughts, blah, blah, right? But if they become aware of it and they want the change and they notice and they realize it's not serving them moving forward, then of course they can train for it. They can train for it on their own. If they have the nature to do it, they can train with it by reading books. But of course, I would say hire a coach. Then you'll get there faster.
We've got a pretty good one in the studio. Right, Dino's got a great question from London, but I'm going to get back to you on that. I've got to give a special shout out to Leila, Talal, and Noura. Did I miss anyone?
Oh my God, all three of them are there?
I haven't seen all of them here, but I'll give Noura the benefit of the doubt. I'm not calling her out on live radio. But I am saying that we miss her and we're giving her a huge shout out. We'll be right back after the break though, because I've got question from Saif, which is a really good one I'm going to throw towards Ghada. And any questions you have on self-awareness, etc., as Fahad has just mentioned, shoot them to me and I'll get back to you straight after the break on the only place to be at 3, the halftime show on Pulse 95. Enjoy this track. It's one of my favorites.
This is the halftime show with Omar Al Duri on Pulse 95.
Yes. We are back on the halftime show. Thank you so much for tuning in. And if you're mad at yourself for missing the show and you're like, man, I missed the show again, then you can catch us on Apple Podcast, Spotify, SoundCloud, and Ghami, or thanks to our fantastic team here at Pulse 95. Shout out to Super Mario and Gabby. They get these shows uploaded on YouTube, where you can catch all of our shows with our fantastic guests like Ghada Zakaria on the Halftime Show. We cover things like mental health, gut health, the way the brain influences the body, and many, many more shows with very, very diverse, diverse amount of talent and education on the show. Right, before I get started, I got to give a couple of shout outs. See, if you're watching on YouTube, you can see I've got my clipboard because I'm old school like that. We've got Talal and Amna, who have just had Marwan Jr. So Alf Mabruk, congratulations on Marwan Jr. I'm sure he's going to be a stud. And then you have Noura, who has Faris, Ayla, and Zaid. So shout out to Noura as well, and them three. Zaid apparently is going to be a hit because he's going to be a boxer. Just saying. No pressure. He's going to be a boxer. And we obviously have the fantastic Ghada Zakaria, who's here on the show as well. Ghada, you've done quite a few things recently. There's been some really interesting projects you've featured on across the UAE. One of them is called the Bukra Ahla Show. Tell me more about the Bukra Ahla Show.
So Bukra Ahla Show was the brainchild or the dream of, I have to give her a shout out, a beautiful, beautiful, absolutely talented young director, Farah Alami. She's so invested and so in love with coaching and the process of coaching and the approach of coaching. She was hunting down a coach. So long story short, fate brings us together on this very, very meaningful project, which was meant to, again, we're going to go back to the C word, checking in with people to see what was happening to them and how they were impacted during the time of lockdown and during the time of, obviously, people contracted the C word. So what was it like for them in terms of lifestyle, and what did they suffer, or what were the challenges that they had to meet? So it's in Arabic. We were hoping to have subtitles, but maybe in the next season. So this is season 1, 15 episodes, where we see 15 different cases, real life cases. So there's nothing scripted in the show.
Right.
It's entirely raw, organic, real. We meet the people, we see the case that they have, or the complaint, or the challenge they're facing. And basically, we showcase for the very first time, I don't think it's ever been done anywhere. We've seen sports coaches. We haven't actually seen life coaches come in. We've seen therapists. But we haven't seen the coaching approach, which is more of a meaningful conversation that is meant to provide awareness of a certain level and tools to empower people to even have a remote shift in their life or perspective, or to find a new doorway into changing something in their life. So obviously this is first season. It's only half an hour. So there's only so much we can do in this much, although we're filming the entire day. But what happens is we create some kind of impact in their lives positively, that hence Bukra Ahla, tomorrow is better. And so even if they do a tiny little shift in their life or perspective or awareness, it just gives them something better to move forward with. So it's the very first time we're showcasing what coaching looks like in real life. How is the process with people? So I'm really excited about that show. I think it's we've received some very nice feedback so far, and I'm really excited for more people to actually see it and give us their feedback, and to get to see the difference between coaching, between therapy, between consulting. It really is very different, and it's not without respect to everybody else. Absolutely respect to everyone. And it's an important opportunity to showcase and highlight that coaching exists and how positive an impact it has on people.
Absolutely. Ghada, before I let you go, we have reached full time on the halftime show, as you heard the whistle, and it is another one, as DJ Khalid says. But where can we follow you?
Well, you can follow me on Ghada's space, so Z and then S, on Instagram. I am on Twitter as Coach G, and then underneath it is @Ghada Zakaria. You can find me on Facebook, Ghada M. Zakaria or Ghada Muhammad Zakaria. And I'm on LinkedIn. So,
nice.
And maybe one thing will lead to the other. So
yes, absolutely.
please do follow. Yes.
Thank you so much for taking the time out to come see us.
Thank you.
I hope you enjoyed the experience.
Absolutely.
It was a pleasure having you on the show.
Likewise.
And there you have it, folks. Remember, you can catch us every Monday, Wednesday, and Saturday, 3 to 4 on the Halftime Show. It's very, very important that we are aware, and it's okay to be able to discuss these things, especially on the platform like the Halftime Show on Pulse 95. Mental health, mental fitness is so important and so key for us to be able to talk about, whether male or female. It's something that we need to bring to the surface, and if we can use our platform, we will. I hope you enjoyed the show. I hope you have a fantastic day, and I will see you very soon on the only place to be at 3, the Halftime Show on Pulse 95. Salam.
If you liked this episode of The Halftime Show, drop a like and subscribe.
95.
Be sure to follow us on Instagram for all our daily updates and top stories.